You've done the math. You've watched the videos. You've seen the Instagram photos of retirees sipping coffee on cobblestone streets in Portugal or waking up to ocean views in Costa Rica for what seems like next to nothing. And honestly, the dream looks incredible. But here's what almost nobody tells you before you pack your bags and sell your house and wire your retirement savings to a foreign bank account. There are truths about retiring overseas that most people only discover after they've already made the leap. And some of those truths are genuinely wonderful. But others have destroyed retirements, strained marriages, and left people scrambling to come back home with far less money than they left with. So today we're going to get completely honest about all of it. Before we dive in, retiring overseas sounds perfect, until income stops keeping up with real life. That's why I built location-independent income streams using Tube Mastery by Matt Parr so retirement stays flexible, not fragile. Let's start with the thing that pulls everyone in. The cost savings. Yes, they are real. In many countries, you can live a genuinely comfortable life on significantly less money than you'd need in the United States or Canada or the UK. Places like Mexico, Colombia, Vietnam, and parts of Eastern Europe offer lower housing costs, cheaper food, and more affordable health care. That part is true. But here's what the retirement abroad influencers conveniently leave out of their highlight reels. The savings are almost never as dramatic as the numbers you see online suggest, especially once you account for your actual lifestyle. Most of those budget figures you see floating around assume you'll live like a local. And many retirees fully intend to do exactly that, right up until they actually move and realize they still want certain comforts from home. They still want to stream their favorite shows without a VPN headache. They still want imported foods occasionally. They still want to fly home for the grandkids' birthdays, the holidays, the family emergencies. Flights are not cheap. And they add up faster than almost anything else in the overseas retirement budget. So yes, you might save on rent, but your overall spending picture is more complicated than a monthly cost of living number on a blog post. Now let's talk about something even fewer people mention, and this one catches people completely off guard. Taxes. Specifically, if you are an American citizen, you owe United States taxes no matter where you live on the planet. The US is one of only 2 countries in the entire world that taxes its citizens based on citizenship, rather than residency. So if you retire to Spain or Thailand or Panama, you still need to file a US tax return every single year. And depending on your income sources, your Social Security, your IRA withdrawals, your investment income, you may owe taxes in both countries simultaneously. Some countries have tax treaties with the US that help reduce this burden. But navigating the international tax landscape is genuinely complicated, and hiring someone who specializes in expat taxation is not cheap. This is a cost most people never factor into their retirement planning. Let's shift gears and talk about healthcare, because this is where the conversation gets really interesting. Healthcare costs are one of the biggest drivers pushing people toward retiring abroad, and legitimately so. In countries like Mexico, Thailand, and Costa Rica, you can access high-quality medical care at a fraction of what you'd pay in the US without insurance. Many popular expat destinations have excellent private hospitals with English-speaking staff and modern equipment. For routine care and even many surgeries, the out-of-pocket costs are remarkably affordable. This part of the equation genuinely works in your favor. But here's the tension. What happens when you have a serious medical emergency? What happens when you need a specialist or a complex procedure or long-term care? The quality of care at the top-tier private hospitals in major cities is often excellent. But if you're living in a rural paradise or a smaller town, the picture can look very different. Medical evacuation insurance, which covers flying you to a better facility or back home in a crisis, can cost thousands of dollars annually. And as you age, the complexity of your healthcare needs increases. This is not a reason to abandon the idea, but it is absolutely a reason to research your specific location thoroughly before committing. Now here's one that almost no retirement abroad video ever addresses seriously. Loneliness. Not the temporary loneliness of adjusting to a new place. Real, sustained, bone-deep loneliness. When you move abroad, you leave behind decades of relationships. Your neighbors who've known you for 30 years. Your poker night friends. Your church community. Your book club. your siblings who live 20 minutes away. You leave all of that, and rebuilding a social network from scratch as an older adult in a foreign country is genuinely hard. Expat communities can be wonderful and welcoming, but they also have a transient quality. People come and go, and if your foreign language skills are limited, connecting meaningfully with local people takes years of effort. Research consistently shows that social connection is one of the most powerful predictors of health and happiness in retirement. The people who thrive abroad are usually the ones who actively and relentlessly invest in building community wherever they land. The people who struggle are often the ones who expected community to just happen naturally the way it did back home, where they had a lifetime of history working in their favor. Let's talk about the legal and bureaucratic reality of living in another country. Residency visas are not always straightforward. Requirements change. Processing times can stretch to months or longer. Some countries have income thresholds you must meet to qualify for their retirement visas. Others require significant financial deposits held locally. Property ownership laws for foreigners vary enormously. In some countries, you can own property outright. In others, you can only hold long-term leases. In certain places, legal protections for foreign property owners are considerably weaker than what you're used to at home. Getting solid legal advice from a reputable local attorney before signing anything is essential, not optional. Here's the truth most people only learn after they move. Visas change, healthcare costs rise, currencies fluctuate, and fixed income doesn't adapt. The retirees who feel secure abroad aren't just living cheaply, they've built an income layer that works anywhere. That's exactly what Tube Mastery by Matt Parr teaches, a proven system for creating faceless, automated YouTube channels without filming yourself, editing videos, or dealing with clients. This isn't about starting over or grinding, it's about protecting your lifestyle and buying back options. If you want to retire overseas with confidence instead of constant calculation, the link below shows the exact blueprint people are using before it's too late. And then there's the emotional dimension that nobody prepares you for adequately. The grief. Moving abroad permanently involves a kind of grief that people rarely acknowledge. You are saying goodbye to your country, your culture, your language, your identity as someone who belongs somewhere. Even when you are genuinely excited and even when you love your new life, there are moments of profound loss. The holidays feel different. Watching news about home from thousands of miles away during difficult moments feels disorienting. Missing a parent's final months because you're living on another continent is a pain that no amount of tropical weather can soften. The couples who handle this best are almost always the ones who talked about all of this deeply and honestly before they left, who had a real plan for maintaining connections back home, who gave themselves permission to feel complicated emotions about their choice without interpreting those emotions as proof they made a mistake. So what's the actual verdict? Is retiring abroad worth it? Here's the honest answer. For the right person in the right circumstances with thorough preparation and realistic expectations, it can be genuinely transformative. Lower costs, warmer climates, adventure, new perspectives, a slower pace of life that reconnects people with what actually matters. These are real benefits that real people experience every single day. But it is not the financial escape hatch it's often marketed as. It's not simpler than staying home. It requires more planning, more flexibility, more emotional resilience, and more ongoing effort than most people anticipate going in. The retirees who struggle are the ones who moved on fantasy. The ones who thrive moved on preparation. Before you commit to anything, visit your target location for at least 3 months. Rent, don't buy, for at least the first year. Build a detailed financial picture that includes taxes, flights home, healthcare contingencies, and legal costs. Have brutally honest conversations with your partner about what each of you actually needs to feel connected and fulfilled. And talk to people who actually live there, not just the ones whose entire brand is telling you how perfect it is. The dream can be real, but only if you go in with your eyes fully open. That's the truth nobody mentions until it's too late.